Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking the Arrow episode, Inheritance. And this is a reasonably solid episode. I definitely did like that. It's basically like, oh, nope, Emiko's story is going to turn out to not be what you think it is. Um, I think maybe they were trying a little too hard to be all twisty and turny, and the whole bit with like, oh, she's the one that destroyed the Queen's Gambit. Like, I kind of had a feeling that's where this was all going before that particular reveal was, really heavily implied. Now, this does seem to fly in the face of what we learned back in season one, that it was Malcolm Merlyn that did that, but it could just be Malcolm thought he did it. Like, he went there and he did something. Emiko came along and just sort of like, oh yeah, no, I don't know what the hell this is, but it gets to be my plan that kills my father, um, which sort of seems kind of pointless. I mean, oh, here's a bomb already ready to go. I don't have to do anything. I can just leave, and if something goes wrong, whoever actually put this here will get the blame. But there is something to be said for doing things yourself, especially if it's personal, so I can kind of let that slide. This is a retcon. Let's call a spade a spade. That's what it is. Something now, this is different than previously unknown information coming to light. Like a lot of the whole Oliver's flashback thing. Well, that was all about previously unknown information coming to light. Like in season one, we thought he spent all of those 5 years on Lian Yu. Well, no, turns out Oliver was going to Hong Kong, going to Russia, going all over the place, and doing other stuff. That was not a retcon. We were just kind of assuming certain things based on the information that we were given, but it was never really expressly stated that this was true. Here, it was said back in season one. Malcolm Merlyn was responsible for this bomb being there. Here, it's basically said, nope, it was Emiko that destroyed the Queen's Gambit. Now again, there's some wiggle room, and depending on how you look at things, it's not impossible to believe that Malcolm thought he was telling the truth about that situation. He just didn't have all the complete information about what was going on. All right. I've certainly dealt with worse retcons than this. I've read a hell of a lot of comic books, and I have read some real throw the book against the wall retcons. Like when they brought Magneto back from the dead after Grant Morrison's really great X-Men run, and he basically just said like, oh yeah, that guy who looked like me and was just as powerful as me, that was some other dude. That was a story that Chris Claremont wrote, if I remember right, and I was just like, this is like, that was just some like, it was just an utter bullshit explanation as to how, because that guy died at the end of Grant Morrison's X-Men run. Spoiler for like a story from like 20 years ago. And it's just like, this is bullshit. You know. But do go read that Grant Morrison X-Men run if you haven't. That's showing its age a little bit, but boy, it's good stuff. X-Men Emergency indeed, Charles. Oh boy, that was a beautiful moment. Beautiful. All right then, kind of bringing things back around. I kind of liked them touching on the friendship between Emiko and Renee. Bummer. Bummer for Renee. That's gotta hurt. Felicity and Laurel kind of having bonded and become friends. The interplay between Diana and Laurel. I mean, it's all good stuff there. And it is definitely nice to see the female characters having their own things that really are not connected to the guys. And if you even pay attention, like two women wrote this episode. I believe the director was also female. And, that is one thing that I think Arrow deserves to be proud of. It's been quite good about having female writers, directors, and behind the scenes staff. Hollywood still has a long way to go in terms of gender equality. Oh boy, does it. But it is nice to see that some places progress is being made. And, just to kind of ramble on about this a little bit more, I was listening to a podcast today. It was Writing Excuses. And one of the female writers on the panel was talking about how, like, a female character in a story was dealing with this really Lothario sort of guy, and how she was making sure to like always keep some furniture between her and him, and she was just kind of made this sort of like, yeah, it's sort of like, yeah, that's what women really do in these sort of situations. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for authenticity. Like me as a guy writing something like that, that probably wouldn't have occurred to me, but now that I've heard it, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I might have even seen that happening. Okay, well, I'll remember that in the future. And if I'm ever in a situation where suddenly I discover a woman is always keeping a piece of furniture between me and her, that maybe I should just politely excuse myself. Hopefully that doesn't come up. But anyway, um, all in all, I'm definitely feeling this. This is definitely, I think, up the stakes in a way that's interesting. We don't have that, flash forward to the future that is really still not working for me, but we'll have to see. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And until next time, take care and have a good one.